I think we've seen a real shift in the last few years of particularly the targeted attacks being much more sophisticated in their approach. And actually a lot of the tools and techniques being used by some of the very advanced threat actors being then repurposed and made available to much lower skilled threat actors. So we're seeing this sort of almost ripple effect where some of the really sophisticated groups come up with something very high end, very specific, and then almost over the space of a few days that's picked up and repurposed and used by threat actors of much lower sophistication. And that causes a problem for many organizations because they're no longer having to just defend themselves against the routine stuff and assume that the high-end attacks won't be targeted just at them, but they're actually having to defend themselves against the full spectrum of everything from the complete low-end commodity threat activity to the very high-end almost kind of nation-state activity because of how quickly the tools can be repurposed and redeployed in other attacks. And so I suspect that evolution, as well as the continued kind of migration of attacks up the value chain and the supply chains to be pretty prolific. And actually, if you think about the erosion of trust in a lot of the supply chains, that's both from a supplier perspective, so we touched on the IT managed service providers, but you've also got a lot of recent attacks targeting the software supply chain. So if you think about the NotPetya attacks last year, and even some of the recent press reporting about the hardware supply chain also being targeted for the purposes of espionage, some of those trends moving up the value chain are probably what's going to continue most over the next 12 months.